Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar. They're all part of the ride-sharing economy, so loved by urban-dwelling millennials and distrusted by Democratic politicians, taxicab unions, and Salon.com headline writers. Since a California judge has ruled that Uber has to shut down and pay a fine unless it changes its ways, we're going to Uber around Los Angeles today and sort through some of the rumors you might have heard. That Uber doesn't pay its drivers well, that it's dangerous, that there's no background checks, that they don't pick up in bad areas. So I'm going to call up our first Uber right now from Reason's Los Angeles headquarters, and we're going to catch a ride. Our first driver, Catherine, moved to LA from New York, hoping to start a new business. She uses Uber to help pay the bills while she makes that transition.
You're just going to talk to all the Uber drivers and see what they have to say?
Yeah, exactly. See what life is like driving around.
The wheel.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend it as a full-time job.
Why is that?
I'd recommend it as a side hustle only.
Yeah.
Because you really kill your car for $10 an hour, essentially.
So that's about what it shakes out to.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like more money because they don't take taxes out, right? So it's I don't know.
In New York, Catherine made a lot more money because she worked as an attorney. So I couldn't resist the opportunity to turn the conversation towards Uber and the law.
At the end of the day, this is not illegal what I'm doing. I don't have a chauffeur's license, and I'm currently transporting you for money.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, but Uber just surpasses the laws in every country and every state. They don't care.
Yeah.
And in a way, their strategy is working.
So do you feel like an outlaw?
Yes. Yes, I do.
There's this whole issue of do Uber drivers avoid the bad areas? Have you ever?
I don't.
Do you know?
Yeah. If I get a ride, I guess in a bad area.
No, you go for it.
Yeah, no, I just stay around there because there's plenty of business down there.
Thanch very much.
Hey, thank you. It was
nice
lovely.
meeting you. Okay, so that was a fun ride. Very candid and friendly driver. And actually, I left my phone in her car, which if you've ever taken a cab and you've left something in it, you know what a nightmare that would be. But she did bring it right back to me. It was about $15 for 11-mile ride, which is pretty reasonable. And she dropped us off here at the Yellow Cab Company, where we're going to interview Bill Rouse, who's one of the top anti-Uber voices in Los Angeles. So you've raised a lot of safety issues around Uber, Lyft, Sidecar, the whole ride-sharing economy. Why is it safer to ride in a cab than in an Uber, for instance?
All of our drivers are background checked through the FBI's system that involves the taking of fingerprints and checking against the FBI's national database. Uber's system relies on names and social security numbers and has been shown to be incomplete.
Is there any actual evidence that it's more dangerous to ride in an Uber than in a taxi cab, or is it just fear-mongering to bring up the background check issue?
Well, it's not fear-mongering to bring up actual circumstances. The female passenger in Houston, who in April was sexually assaulted only weeks after a felon was released from prison. That's not fear-mongering, that's fact.
We don't know that it's a fact that you're more likely to be assaulted in an Uber than in a yellow cab, right?
Well, we absolutely know that Uber's background check system doesn't work. We absolutely know that felons are behind the wheel because we have these instances that are happening in cities across the country.
We had this recent administrative court ruling against Uber that said they're not giving up enough data to the government to be able to track, where they're picking up and not picking up. Is that a good ruling?
We think it's totally legitimate for the Public Utilities Commission to want to understand what's going on the transportation side in terms of whether there's areas that are unmet in terms of demand. Uber agreed to these rules and now they just don't want to comply. And this is an example of what you see around the world. Blatant, actually proud sort of defiance of any sort of rules that might apply to them.
I unknowingly ordered an Uber Plus instead of an Uber X, so I got to ride in a comfy Lincoln Town car driven by a guy named Joseph who fixes motorcycles when he's not driving. Oh, and Reason, sorry for the extra cash spent.
Like 1 o'clock in the morning, the wives get to talking shit.
Yeah.
I jump up and do some Uber, arguing and shit. I get up doing some Uber, so you can clock in and clock out when you get ready. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's cool. I'm thinking about doing full time.
Really?
Yeah, because it's good.
Yeah. You make enough money and stuff.
Yeah.
Are there certain areas, I guess, where just a lot of people are, right? That's where you want to be.
Yeah, well, Uber people, not just a bunch of
Uber people. Okay.
Uber people. Somebody that's looking for, maybe somebody that's drunk They can't drive. You know, the Uber is pretty good. Man.
You get a lot of those. Like,
yeah, a lot of people that got a little too drunk to drive.
Sure. Unlike our first driver, Catherine, Joseph was skeptical about the idea of being treated like an employee by Uber.
It's not a job, it's like a partner.
Oh yeah? What do you mean?
You know, like they don't hire you, you become a partner.
What do you think of that arrangement?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Politicians, they want things. I don't know how they want it, but you know, I think there's enough people out here to accommodate everybody.
Yeah.
They got Lyft, Uber, Sidecar.
Yeah.
It's good to have a choice. But politicians don't care too much about that. You know, as long as they can get what they want, then beat goes on. As long as they can cheat and do what they got to do, you know, it's legal. You know, so what?
Thanks so much. Very nice meeting you.
Hey, sir, pleasure's mine. Y'all have a good, safe day, man.
You too.
All right, okay.
We're here on South Figueroa in one of the neighborhoods ranked by the LA Times as one of the most violent in the city. In front of Tams number 6, which I actually made another recent TV video about, so you can check that out. We're going to get some lunch real quick. They have delicious burgers here. Then we're going to catch our last Uber of the day. It was about an 8-minute wait for our last Uber, which shouldn't be all that surprising after a recent study of the Los Angeles market found Uber actually picked up twice as fast in supposed rough neighborhoods as did yellow taxi cabs. Our last driver was an African immigrant named Marvin. He says he sends back a good portion of his Uber money to family in Sierra Leone.
The Africans, when you're in America, everybody thinks you're making money just like that.
Yeah.
So you really have to really work hard to be able to take care of your families back home. So this job is really helping me a lot.
When you come from another country, sometimes it's hard to get a job.
I had to wait for a year because I'm not from here, though my license. Then it doesn't really mean whether you're an immigrant. As long as you have a good driving record and you have a car, you fit. Just meet the requirements.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
What do you think about the cab groups and the politicians who want to restrict like this kind of thing, want to restrict Uber and Lyft?
Well, I do talk to my passengers, and I do believe that the service we render is more of what is, people are appreciating it a lot than the cabs. That's the reason why we're getting more customers.
The airport, they're going to start letting Ubers pick up here soon. How do you feel about that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would quit my other job, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'd stick to Uber.
Yeah, just hang around the airport.
Just hang around. I live very close to the airport, so that's what I do. I have a few guys who just quit their job. They're doing this full time.
Yeah.
The other one, he has a baby. Like his wife just gave birth. Because of this job, he could go stay with his kids and then do this job, and now he's happy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was a pleasure too. You guys have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Our last stop is Los Angeles' airport, LAX, where we'll catch a good old-fashioned yellow cab, since I already blew my Uber Plus budget on the ride to Tams, and the city prohibits UberX from doing airport pickups. Although I hear that if you set your location point just outside the airport and call your driver, they'll come pick you up anyway. Just saying. Our driver wasn't in a particularly talkative mood.
What is it?
Uber? Have you heard of Uber?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about Uber?
See, look, man, I know you are trying to interview me, but I really don't like it.
Oh, okay.
So it's better you please shut down your...
You'd rather not talk?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like it. Please.
Okay. So it was a quiet ride home, but I can't really blame the guy. He's just trying to do his job, and what good can come of talking to a joker like me? I took the time to reflect on my earlier rides. Are they being exploited by Uber? What I can tell you is that some Uber drivers I talked to wanted to make more money, and some thought the money was pretty good and were even considering going full-time. The flexibility of the gig was really important to all of them. Some people might say that it's no big deal that getting an Uber in South LA was easy, since I'm a pretty white-looking dude. But the LA-based study on the issue drew from an ethnically diverse group of 18 riders. And as far as background checks go, it's true that they don't run the same FBI fingerprint check that yellow cabs have to run, which is why William Rouse thinks more ex-cons are prone to slip through the cracks. But they do have a rating system and real-time GPS tracking that you'd think would act as at least somewhat of a deterrent to doing terrible things to their passengers all the time. And even Rouse wouldn't go so far as to say that you're more likely to be assaulted in an Uber than in a cab. But don't trust me. Try it yourself. In my experience, Uber drivers love talking about what it's like being Uber drivers.